Welcome to the 5781 season of the Professional Dreidel Association. My name is Jared Levin, and today we will preview some of the league's most exciting players, along with some analysis of their championship hopes. I'm joined, as always, by renowned Dreidel analyst and a legend in the game himself, Samuel Tick Raker. Sam, great to see you yet again. How was your off-season?
Great to see you, Jared, and thank you for having me. I am excited. I'm really excited for the season to start. My off season was all right. Watched a lot of Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Although our Roku box has been a little funky, but overall very good. I've been spinning the dreidel a little bit. I'm just ready to get back into the spin of things, as they say.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, I had a great off season too. Very restive. Had some days at the spa. Apparently, there's a new Cambodian remedy where they pour sarsaparilla through a funnel into your anus.
Huh.
So that was great. I feel cleansed. I'm healthy. I'm ready to go for this season. Boy, oh boy, do we have some players coming up. So stay with us, folks. Today we will be previewing and providing some in-depth analysis on this upcoming season.
Time to dust off my dreidel, make some gelt. I ate mom's brisket, need to loosen my belt.
Last season, we saw a lot of great competition come to the forefront of the league. Many great players throwing down, giving their all, and it was a great show. But at the end, when all the dust settled and the Red Sea refilled, it was Moishe Greenberg who took home the final honors and all the gelt.
Moishe, the kid, the green machine, Greenie, his ability to come back from a loss, it really reminds me of Schwitzy Schulman. And I know you remember him. Back in 98, he's down last few rounds, gets 3 gimmels a hay, wins. Some of these guys just have the clutch factor, and it's amazing to see.
It is. I was actually there in 98, if you remember. That was what my journalism thesis was for Northwestern, was covering that tournament. Yeah.
Yes.
I believe that's where I first met you and your lovely wife, Doris.
That's correct.
Yeah, and he won that year over Burt Rankowski. Rankowski later went on to become a Hall of Famer, for those at home who don't know. He was the only player to ever win a PDA championship holding a Reuben in his left hand the whole time.
Yes, there was Thousand Island, there was sauerkraut everywhere, but like I say, sauerkraut everywhere? I don't care if you can spin the dreidel.
For the next 8 nights, the festive lights will bring some Hanukkah cheer.
So Moishe, the American Jewish U product, is certainly the favorite, but he may have a tougher climb this season as the competition has gotten even stiffer. He certainly made Zion the Lion proud at AJU, but becoming a full-fledged perennial superstar in this league is much easier said than done.
Of course, one championship, as much as it's impressive, it doesn't mean that you're all of a sudden a great player. I think the Greenberg cat, the green machine, he can play. Obviously, he's got talent. And I do think he's going to be a real Gimmel god in this league, in this game.
And facing stiff competition like Joy Stein, last season's runner-up, she's really the X factor going into this season.
Joycey, the Moisey, I love her. We've talked about this, her off-season workouts. She's in World Series of Mahjong. She's a 2-sport athlete, right? We call her the Bo Jackson of the PDA, and she is exciting player to watch, and she has an insane work ethic. I mean, we saw those videos of her doing those exercises and cooking latkes and all those things, and jump rope. And I mean, she really cares about the game.
Indeed. She's truly a marvel. But, another player to watch is young Shmuel Jr., the top draft pick out of Yeshiva U. When he was with the Maccabees in college, he was an absolute force. No one really could match him in the college ranks. And while his raw talent may be unmatched in this league, he has been plagued by some off-the-table issues. Last year he was caught hotboxing that sukkah at the local JCC.
He's young. He looks like he just had his bar mitzvah or something. He just sang his Haftorah. Because he's a young-looking kid. Handsome, but young. And
Devilishly handsome.
Maybe angelically handsome.
One could say.
And, look, I was a dreidel champion, and I hotboxed the sukkah. So it's not like that's going to, get him out of the league. But I do think as a young guy and as the number 1 pick, there's a lot of pressure out of yeshiva, right? One of the best, that's the Duke of dreidel schools.
Exactly.
I mean, their recruiting is unbelievable. I think that pressure added with the fact, right? He's Shmuel Senior's son. Shmuel Senior, one of the best.
Don't you know Shmuel Senior?
I do. I mean, I grew up with him in the ranks. I played with him. Unfortunately, we had a brief falling out. Well, not brief. It's still going. We had an argument about the Offie Coleman at last year's Seder.
And speaking of legends, another one of your old compatriots, Saul Abramowitz, I think is back in what may be the final year of his storied career. What are you looking for from Solomon this season?
Yes. Solly, I've never seen someone spin a dreidel like him. I mean, he has the Abramowitz angle, we call it. You know, he did tell me actually in private, and this is the first time I'm sharing this, but he did say officially that this will be his last season.
Wow, you heard it here, folks, on the PDA show. Breaking news, this will be Solomon Abramowitz's final season in the PDA. Wow, exciting stuff, Sam.
So I think that will give him some motivation, right? He wants to prove himself, win one more championship maybe. It's quite the spread this year, and I just can't.
Yeah,
I'm schwitzing just thinking about it.
A lot of different personalities and talented players coming to the forefront, and we'll have to see what Abramowitz can bring to the table.
Right.
There's also possibly going to be a ringer for this year's tournament. I don't know if you've heard anything about this, but we have a late entry from Japan who's the winner of the Pacific Dreidel Showdown. He's really been shooting up the ranks in the abroad leagues, but unfortunately he's currently experiencing some visa issues. So we're not sure if we're going to actually see him for the spin-off.
Yes, I have seen that kid's highlight tape, and it's delicious. I mean, I read his Wikipedia page. He's been training for a long time. Unbelievable. He found out about the game in Japan, and that's something also, you know, I just want to add. It's a global sport now, and that's really beautiful. I'm very excited to see how he does. Again, it will be a transition. So if we see him struggling at the beginning, we can't be surprised.
Indeed.
I'm frying latkes. I'm making a mess with some Jewish girls. Pinching tuchus.
Well, Sam, now that we've previewed a lot of the good players who are going to potentially challenge for the top spot this season over the next 40 days and 40 nights, who in your mind is going to take home all the geld? Who's your pick?
I've thought about this a lot. I've twisted and turned all night. I mean, even my wife Doris could tell you I've screamed things in the middle of my sleep about who I think will win the championship. But I think my guy Saul, this being his last year, and call me biased, I've known him since before his bris. I've known him I'm one of the few people to know him when he had foreskin. He has something to play for. This is his last year. You know, he's moving to Boca Raton next year to retire, to work on the shuffleboard game. And I think this is his year. He must be motivated to win it all because it's the last chance he got.
Truly. And you know better than anyone, you know, you go from the skin to the grave with a guy like that. And it's just great to see him still out here competing.
Oh, it's wonderful. And again, to see that mixed with someone like young, you know, Shmuel Jr., right? It's so beautiful to see the young and the old and the American, the Japanese, the male and the female. I mean, that's just, it's what the game is all about.
Truly. So the Haifa lines favor Moishe negative 600 at this point. So he's going to really be a tough out being the reigning champ and all.
Right.
He does have some lingering wrist soreness from that challah making fiasco in the offseason. And I've seen the training regimen of Joyce that we talked a little bit about earlier.
Right.
I just think she has that killer instinct this season. She's been working really hard, and you can just tell she just wants it. She has the gall to do it.
I am a little worried about Joyce. She dropped a mahjong piece on her hand in the World Series of Mahjong. It was on ESPN 64 the other night. And I'm a little worried about that. But again, we know her work ethic. We know how much she cares. You were talking about that.
Yeah.
I don't think a small hand injury is gonna affect her too much.
It's true. She can make some noise. Well, that's just about all the time we have today. We've got so many great players, so many great narratives and storylines to follow. So please join us next time as we go more in depth on specific players to watch, and we continue to get ready for this year's edition of the PDA.
Please keep subscribing to our YouTube channel. We'll be posting lots of videos, interviews, good content, highlights, and Mazel Tov, and we can't wait for the season to start.
Lots of good stuff coming. Anyways, he speaks Hebrew.
He speaks Jew.
And we both
speak to you.